Good evening, everyone. If you could take a seat, we'll get started. For those of you on Zoom, we still have the problem of the microphones for the Zoom participants. So you may not hear the questions that get raised in the room, and we may not be able to take your questions off the chat, but we do follow up with that after the fact. So if we could start. So welcome to the April meeting of the North End Neighborhood Council. Under announcements, I'm going to post this on our website and Facebook, but there was those of you that read the Tacoma News Tribune, buried in one of their stories last week was this places to live, rankings of places to live. And it said that the North End of Tacoma was ranked #1 in Pierce County. So I actually dug into the website, and not only are we #1 in Tacoma and #1 in Pierce County, we got an A rating when all of the other areas of Tacoma got B ratings, B+, B, B-. And we, being #1 in Pierce County, I thought that was really good because those horrible people who live in Gig Harbor, we beat. So I will post that. But we still have, we may be the #1 ranked in Tacoma, but I would like to say let's still work at increasing that from an A to an A+, because I did notice a lot of the Seattle neighborhoods got A+. So I think we've got a challenge in the next year to try and get that ranking up. I would like to see us with an A+. We don't do the minutes. Our secretary is recovering from surgery today. The treasurer's report is internal for the board, so thank you as always for our treasurer doing that. Moving on to the standard liaison reports, we got a special police. So, Kristen, do you want? We're going to start with the Assistant Police Chief Carl, who's going to talk about the shot spotter system. So
I know that's on camera, but I bounce around a lot, so I probably will not stay there. So for the people on your Zoom meeting, do I have to use this?
yes, you do.
My name is Chris Carl.
Then you can move around.
Yeah, I am currently the Assistant Chief in our Services Bureau. So that represents everything not sexy about police work. That's policy, procedure, fleet, training, hiring, internal affairs, finance, crime analysis, everything outside of uniforms primarily, I'm in charge of. As part of my responsibilities, I'm in charge of a lot of projects and programs. One that I'm going to continue to talk about as we're implementing it is the Shot Spotter program. It's received a lot of publicity, probably in the last 8 or 9 months. The Tacoma Police Department, a while ago, applied for what's called a Bureau of Justice Affairs grant, technology grant. It's called Smart Policing Initiative, SPI. As part of that, it's a 3-pronged grant. One of the prongs is recoverable technology, which is state-of-the-art technology for allowing us to lift fingerprints off shell casings. The second part of that is a thorough 3D scanner, which we use at homicide scenes, officer-involved shootings, and everything along those lines. So it's a 3D scanner we can use in the crime scenes. And lastly is Shot Spotter. Shot Spotter is a gunshot detection system. It tracks gunfire incidents and gunfire incidents only. It does not track human beings. It tracks gunfire incidents. Our officers in South Sound 911 will receive a gunshot detection alert via our departmental issued phones. Same time, South Sound 911 will get alert in the dispatch center. And the officers will dispatch accordingly at the same time. South Sound 911 gives them, hey, you're getting a shot spotter alert from ABC 123 location. And it'll give us location information as the number of shots fired. Was it from an automatic rifle? Was it from a handgun? Was it from a vehicle? So they can track the vehicle going away to drive-by shooting. They can track if it was somebody running on foot from a crime scene as well, because you're gonna see the technology with the sensors can track vehicles fleeing the scene or a person running from the scene. The technology allows it to do that. The shot spotter sensors are within a 2-mile square area of only one part of the city of Tacoma. That's the Hosmer area. That's going to go from 72nd down to 96, from Hosmer to approximately Park or Yakima Avenue, right in that area. So it's only that section of the city which currently is going to have it because it's a pilot program. Because part of this grant is we're going to have this grant for 3 years. It's paying for these 3 forms of technology. And at the end of this 3 years, the city of Tacoma says we no longer want shot spotter. We're not getting the bang for the buck for it. City of Tacoma has got no money. They simply say, come get your sensors off the poles, and we move on with some other form of technology moving forward. Currently, just to give you guys an update, the sensors have been deployed on the power poles. The Tacoma Police Department does not know where those sensors are at. For transparency, we don't know where they're at, so that way we can't use them. We're not going to post for the public. We don't want them to be vandalized or damaged. And when we come out with our dashboard on our website, we're not going to post a map because we don't want smart techie people to be able to pinpoint where those sensors are at. And so we're not going to post that either. So the sensors have been put up. That was done a few weeks ago. The next phase is we deployed or we implemented our gunshot detection policy with insight from our legal advisors, the Tacoma executive people, our labor partners, and CPAC, Community Police Advisory Committee. I got that right. So the policy's out there. The next phase of this will be the training phase, which means shot spotter and their representatives will be here the week of April 21st, the 25th. They're going to train all of our officers with the marked uniformed officers. They're going to train our detectives because part of their program is called Insight, that the detectives can get in there and pull up on such and such a date, such a time. We had a couple of gunshot detection incidents, and they can see, okay, well, we had a shooting and somebody showed up at the hospital. So the detectives will have the ability to get into this Insight program for their investigations. During that same week, South Sound 911, we're going to train their dispatchers on how to do things. We're going to try how to train the crime analysis unit on how to do things, because they're going to be responsible for putting our external facing dashboard for the public to be able to pull up the stats on our dashboard to see what type of response times we're getting, number of shell casings have been recovered. Were these crimes linked, were these gunfire incidents linked to specific investigations? So, but remember, with technology and this being new to the Tacoma Police Department, and this being new to the community, we're going to have hiccups. We're going to have to get our dashboard up and running. We're going to see what's working, what's not working. Do we need to present more information on our dashboard? We need to pull back a little bit. So you're going to have to give us a little bit of patience because this is brand new technology, especially to Washington State. The only department that has it, the Tribal Police Department, are up and running as of about a week or 10 days ago. So they have it on their jurisdiction. Once we get everybody trained, we'll get the dashboard up and running. We have FAQs up on our website, so a lot of shot spotter basic questions. I'm definitely not an SME in regards to the technology and so forth along those lines. So asking me, you're not going to get a lot of good answers. But in regards to shot spotters, put a lot of their questions, and we've linked their presentation as well to it. So once we get up and running, everybody's trained, policies out there, and the city manager and the city council give me the green light. We'll obviously do a media release that's saying, hey, shot spotters up and running. I don't have an exact date because obviously there'll be some technology issues with IT and everything along those lines. So I'm hoping the month of May to the month of June that we'll be up and running with the program. Answer any questions about it.
Yeah, a couple of questions. This is a 3-year program, and I saw on the city website frequently asked questions that it's going to run through the end of 2027. So it's going to be a 2.5-year pilot. And I have a second question.
So technically, as soon as you apply for the grant, what we're going to need is probably do an extension because they do it from the time the implementation of Shot Spotter. So that is when we'll have to bump it back a little bit and file for an extension with the BGA in regards to that. Yeah, or, the city council may say, hey, a year from now, hey, this is what we're looking for, because we will be doing monthly updates. We also have an independent evaluator, a lady named Dr. Huff from the University of Cincinnati, and she will be doing the quarterly evaluations of the technology grant.
So what if the, city council study session?
Is there?
Yeah. And so, and then the TNT did an article about it within a couple of days of that. And one of the things that, came out was that, it's a great alert system, and as you mentioned, if there is gunfire and that's what actually is found, you can do forensic collection. But that the, sound thinking, executives who were there, that's probably their own shot spotter, they did acknowledge that it doesn't reduce gun violence unless other things are in place. So what are the other things that might be in place, and how are you gonna know which things are attributable to shot spotter versus whatever, like the crime reduction plan is?
Right, so the crime reduction plan has been in place now for a couple of years. So crime is already down in that area from the Hawthorne corridor. So what this will is to give us the ability to track gunfire incidents in that 2 mile square area. So we're gonna have to be able to determine, remember, 90% of all gunfire incidents go unreported. So initially, you know, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but initially, we're gonna obviously, our gunfire incidents will probably go up because we're actually getting gunfire alerts and so forth along those lines. Part of that is gonna be going out there and collecting the shell casings and doing follow-up in regards to detective to see if we can link some of them gunfire incidents to actual, people and go from there.
And sometimes it could be that, fire.
Yeah, and statistics wise, and that's up on our webpage, so I'm not gonna give you what they are, but yes. So what the acoustic sensors will be able to pick up, and it differentiates between 4th of July fireworks, backfires, like I said, automatic rifle fire versus the handgun. It can differentiate between those things. Part of our website will also have those false, some of that information as well. Okay, that was easy.
You mentioned the monthly reports, those are gonna be public?
Yes, and again, we're gonna give you a little bit of grace on that because this is new to our police department. So talking to our crime analysis manager this morning, we want to say we can do it weekly. We'll be able to update those stats, but at least monthly. Yeah, anything else?
You're getting off easy.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Round of applause, please. And our police liaison, Christian, comes regularly to our meetings, so she'll be reporting. You'll give us feedback on your monthly reports. Yeah, that'd be great. Are there any questions for the police department outside of the shot spotter issue? Any issues?
I have one.
Please go ahead.
The point defines assault case that turned out to be false. That's the secondary one to that, or the, maybe dog park, yes, yeah. It's a good job of sticking with that, just kind of, you know, making the point divide safe again.
Anyway, so thank you very much. And moving on, next one we have Tacoma Park. So Alyssa, if you would like to come up, and I think you've got some people to introduce as well. So you know the.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just here's the camera.
Oh, hi, camera. Fantastic, whatever. Good evening. I guess it's spring break that's keeping most people not here from here this evening. March Madness. If we haven't met before, I'm Elisa O'Hanlon-Regala. I lead the strategic planning, long-range planning at Parks Tacoma. And tonight I am proud to introduce, or honored to introduce, two of our newest commissioners. Commissioner Reyes, here and say hello, and Commissioner Lee as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hi, 3 weeks on the job. I was appointed in March, the newest park commissioner. I'm filling out the rest of Rosie's term. Quick background on myself, I'm a nurse. Have 2 kids. I live over on Hilltop. So my neighborhood council, central neighborhood council, but we're pretty close here, so. Very much in the listening phase of, my dog training, so I'm all ears if you guys want to enter contact information, and let me know what your concerns are. All right, pass it over to Commissioner Lee.
Thank you, Pete. Hello, everyone. My name is Elisa Lee, and I'm also one of the new commissioners. It's really great to be back here tonight. Like Pete, I live in Hilltop, but originally, when I first moved to Tacoma 15 years ago, I was a North Ender. I attended University of Puget Sound. I really loved the neighborhood. I lived there for 8 years, so it's great to be back. I really care deeply about our parks. My top priorities are protecting our programs that serve our working families, equitably expanding our green space, especially in the south end and east side. And I want to make our parks feel safer. For me, that means line of sight projects, maybe increasing our park ranger program, things like that. And also doing a lot of listening. Like Pete, I'm new on the job. I've only been here for about 3 months. And so I really want to connect with you guys, and it's just great to be here tonight. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. Well. So, interesting, everybody that's with you tonight from Parks Tacoma lives in the Hilltop. And I grew up in the North End, so we have a lot in common, as well as our first names, me and Lisa. So there's always a lot to share about what's happening at Parks Tacoma. On the topic of safety, since that feels like a jumping off point, yes, we are pleased that Point Defiance is safe as it always has been. Unfortunately, some of our other parks in our system have recently experienced some vandalism at South Park. If you've ever gone to the spray ground there, unfortunately, that spray ground probably will not be open this summer, as there was a theft of some copper wire and other equipment, rendering the bathroom and the spray ground inoperable. We hope we can get the restrooms back up running soon, but unlikely that we'll get the spray ground running. And in Charlotte's Blueberry Park, off of Pacific Avenue at South 74th, if you've never been there, I really encourage you to go there. It's free blueberries, it's wonderful, and there would have been fruit trees, except somebody stole 13 new fruit trees that were planted there. So we share these things to encourage you, to encourage everyone to keep an eye out on suspicious activity in our parks. We know you do, and we appreciate that. It takes us all to make sure that they're maintained in an enjoyable way for us all. A lot of things happening, a lot of other good things, playgrounds, lots of playgrounds going in. Ferry Park in the Hilltop has a new playground. Cloverdale Park on the east side is also having a new playground installed. And Wright Park, unfortunately, the playground, we discovered some rot in the structure, so that has been fenced off, and we're assessing it to see as quickly as we can if it's more affordable to replace that rot now within the structure that exists, or that play structure only had a life span of maybe another 5 to 10 years, and so would it make more sense to go ahead and replace that structure now? So we hoped as the weather is getting nicer, of course, to be able to bring that back online since Wright Park is so popular, but we'll do that just as quickly as we can. A lot of things always happening at the zoo, so I'm not going to read them all, but want to just make you aware that the zoo does a lot to involve the community and young people in particular. And if you're not aware, there are internships that that students can become engaged with. Animal husbandry, they can come and work alongside the keepers and the veterinarians to learn these skills. So keep that in mind. Parks Appreciation Day. I do want you to know about this one. It is not this coming weekend, but the next one, the 19th. Online, you can sign up. We'll have multiple locations, lots of work parties, trimming limbs, grooming grounds in the morning from 9 a.m. to 12. I don't think you have to serve that whole 3 hours. We will take hands whenever you can offer them. There will be specific programming at Point Defiance at Titlow, at the Point Defiance Marina, and also Charlotte's Blueberry Park, maybe some tree planting. I want to encourage you to, this Saturday, there's a senior resource fair out at Star Center. This is in the afternoon from 12 to 3. It's a free event. You might recall that the city of Tacoma had to make some shifts in its providing service to seniors, and Parks Tacoma has absorbed those. And so we really want to get the word out to folks of the variety and array of programming that we have, not only at Star Center in the South End, but at all of our community centers at North Point, at Eastside, and the People's Center in the Hilltop. If you are a runner or know a runner, maybe someone who wants to train for a little bit bigger event coming up Saturday, the 19th, the same day as Parks Appreciation Day, that morning, there is the Throwback 5K at Wapato Park. This is throwback. So get on your tube socks and your sweatbands and run like it was yesteryear. Okay. One more, oh my goodness, there's so many events, but one more I want to bring your attention to is Klahowya, and that is on Saturday, April 26th, at the end of this month, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Klahowya means welcome in Chinook jargon. That was the trade language in the 19th century in the Pacific Northwest, in the Salish, among the Salish tribes and traders. And so at Fort Nisqually, it is a hands-on dip into history, and so you can taste food prepared from the period. You can assist with the gardens there. You can play Victorian games, plant your own seeds, and otherwise experience what it may have been like to live here in the mid-19th century. Oh my gosh! So I do want to tell you this one too. Oh. There's so many. Look on the website. I always want to encourage you to look on the website. There's mindful walks at the Seymour Conservatory at Wright Park. There's drop-in art for youth every Saturday. There's the native plant sale that's online now. So if you're a gardener, you might want to put a purchase online until April 27th, taking orders. You would pick up the first weekend of May at Tacoma Nature Center. Coffee with the Birds is Sunday, May 4th at Swan Creek Park. So if you like coffee, if you like birds, please check out Swan Creek Park. It is our largest park in this community outside of Point Defiance. And that is it. Can I answer any questions? Okay. Always a pleasure.
So thank you, Alyssa. And before you disappear, under old business, we have Bayside Trails. And I explained this to Commissioner Lee. Last month, we not only had the presentation on the Bayside Trails, we followed that up with a walk on the trail itself. So Georgette and I were among about 10 people who went out, and we were really impressed. It was a great job that's done. I walked it again yesterday morning on my morning walk. And so thank you very much. And we hope to work with the city to see that extended further along to recreate what it used to be. So thank you. Next item on the liaison reports is Tacoma Public Utilities. John Gaines has a conflict. We're not the only neighborhood council that meets on the first Monday. So he's normally here, but he's at the other one this month. He asked me to point out to everybody that the Cushman-Adams future use study presentation to the Tacoma Public Utilities Board will occur on April the 9th at 3 p.m. and that will be at their main building. So some of you may have seen the presentation that they did to the City Council last week. John may speak about that. But it'll be the same presentation, I understand. And if anybody wants, I'm not sure if that's one you can go into virtually. Can you go into PUD meetings? Yeah, so if you can't get there and want to, you can probably Zoom in if you wanted to. So Next item on utilities was the fire department, and wanted to just, Josh sent his apologies. He had 3 items that he wanted to talk. He sent us the monthly statistics. We talked about this at a previous meeting. We're going to try and post fire department statistics and police department statistics on our website. So those are produced each month and show what is happening in the North End. And hopefully when the lines are low, that gives us our A+ rating for next year. There's also an initiative called Pulse Point, which is something that you can register for that will identify, and I'm going to leave this to Josh to explain next month, but there's an app that you can register on that then would identify when there's a medical emergency, somebody just in that area, I guess their phone will beep, 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 and you'll jump into action. I'll let Josh talk about it, and we'll post this on our website as well. There's a blood drive on April the 19th, and I did put a link. We'll put that on our website as well. If any of you need to are interested in giving blood, you can register for that. And the last announcement from Josh was that the interim fire chief, Siona Stallings Ala Elima, has now been appointed the fire chief. So there was has been some press releases out from the city, and I've certainly seen her at several meetings that I've been at. So I think that's going to be a good community person that we're going to see around a lot. I don't see Christina, John. No, she's off today. So we're up onto you. I'd like to welcome Council Member John Hines. And while he's coming up here, I also have to announce that UPS have a Pierce lecture on April the 15th, and this will be at the back, anybody who's interested, and we'll try and get that posted on our website as well. So, you're on.
Water. Yeah. Wish for it. All right. Wait, the audience out there. Oh, too well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to North End Neighborhood Council meeting. It is spring break, which I wonder is probably why it's low turnout tonight. So also why I'm dressed the way that I am. I'm not working today. So thank you all for having me. I just need a couple quick updates and answer a couple of questions if people have any of them. Number one, last time I was here, I mean, I don't think in fact the last time we appointed our new police chief, Patty Jackson. So she took over, just sworn in last month. I can't remember the exact date. 24th. Again, thank you very much. It has been good. I'm very excited about Patty Jackson coming in. I was a big supporter of her before. Pierce County's loss is Tacoma's gain. So I'm very, very excited about her. The new police chief and what comes from there. So that was one thing I want to make sure I recognize. Number two, they talk about seniors at Metro Park, which is very exciting. Been pretty involved with senior issues here in the city of Tacoma. I did my senior summit back in December of 2024. And one of the things that came out of the senior summit was the idea that our commissions, boards, and committees, making sure that we have a senior voice on each one of those. So I started with this idea of creating a separate senior committee, kind of make sure we're kind of being reflective of the voices of seniors. And one of the concerns that was raised to me about that was that they would be kind of isolated, kind of on their own. And it was actually better if we had senior voices as part of all the commissions, boards, and committees that are out there. And so we passed a resolution last month saying the city manager will look to try to prioritize adding a senior person to each one of our commissions, boards, and committees if there isn't one already. Interesting enough, despite the stereotypical idea that seniors are dominating most of our commissions, boards, committees, that is not true. The most representative group of our commissions, boards, committees is, you can imagine, 25 to 40-year-old people, or 20-year-old to 45, 25 to 45, of which I fall squarely in that category. So trying to bring some different voices in, some more experience to our commissions, boards, committees. With that, if you haven't noticed, there are multiple positions open in our commissions, boards, and committees right now, including on the planning commission, the community events commission, and then the building appeals commission, which is an interesting one. Doesn't meet very regularly, but then building appeals happen, it's out there. So Again, if you're interested in serving on our commissions, boards, or committees, encourage you to check it out. All of you who are here are pretty engaged. So I don't know if you're my target audience, but maybe somebody online is looking to get involved. It's just a couple other things. Peter brought up, we had the Cushman Adams substation reuse presentation at the city council meeting on April 1st. They presented 4 scenarios for the future reuse of the Cushman Adams substation, ranging from a open space concept with the building itself being for public use on one end, kind of scenario 1, and then all the way up until a shared community, public-private space inside the building, and then multifamily housing on the site. So there's kind of a range of options, and really high-density housing, and then kind of a range in between the two. There's gonna be a presentation at the Public Utility Board on the 9th. Heard that. They're gonna talk about the different scenarios too, and then we will kind of go forth with the council. People have feedback on those specific proposals. I'm sure someone here will give it to me. But I'd love to hear it as we kind of decide what we're gonna do about what the future of that site looks like. Again, once we determine the scenario, right, I want to really hear the public, once we determine the scenario, the process of going forward is the site itself won't be surplus till 2027, looking further out, and even if it is surplus and we come up with an idea, we're almost likely gonna have to find a partner or find a way for the city to pay for it. So lots of other moving pieces once we determine kind of which scenarios we move forward on, but very exciting for the input. Probably the biggest piece of property in the north that's come available in a long time. A lot of people are very interested in it, so I'm really excited where the future goes. Let's see, I have a couple other items on here, the thing I'd probably just close, I don't want to take too much time to ask questions, is the Streets Initiative 2 is on the ballot on April 22nd. So you're seeing some of the sign running around out there. You know, I would encourage you to please check out the information that's online, check out your voters pamphlet, and be sure to vote on April 22nd. Because it's an off-cycle election, so just want to encourage as many people to vote as possible. With that, I'll take any questions.
Could you just address Tacoma Urban Forest?
Tacoma Urban Forest.
That was, you talked about that two meetings.
2 weeks ago, yes, it came through IPS for conversation. We were discussing a kind of so let's step back and we'll clarify what I'm here. So I came and talked about kind of the future of kind of trees that were pulled out of home in Tacoma. That's kind of what the future of the conversation is going to be. We had an IPS meeting a few sessions ago. I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head. Where we talked through kind of next steps for trees. Part of that is council resolution that we can move forward. Part of that requires going back through the planning commission because there's land use involved with it. So we are going to be moving forward a resolution to the full council, kind of laying out the next steps for where we go. And mostly going to be broader, looking at trees, not only on residential properties, which is home in Tacoma, but even bigger, some commercial, industrial, all properties in the city of Tacoma, and what that would look like. Yeah.
Questions for John?
Yeah.
Boy, we're letting you get off easy.
Yeah, no, with that, thank you very much. I'll be here for, I'm here every month, so, but I'll be here for a little while tonight. I've been soccer here. Thank you, Peter. That's your band.
Okay, we address old business before we get into the presentations because we got a comment from one of the Zoom participants that they wanted to get the updates but didn't want to sit through all the presentations. So John talked about the urban forest. I have no update on the Amici House. Lowell Elementary School, I noticed the demolition vehicles are back down there hammering away. I'm not sure, I haven't heard anything directly as to whether it's going to be the flat roof showing the air conditioning units or a V roof that covers them, but we'll follow up on that. The rendering plan is close to being dead. We get updates from the port regularly, but I don't think there's any effort. Now, there was an effort to try and do like some sort of resolution within the city, but I don't think that's going to go forward, as it appears that the rendering plan, which could only go in the tide flats, is unlikely, when that lease runs out, is unlikely to be renewed. We're still following up on the multifamily tax exemption. issues. That was one of, I think, our December meeting, we brought that up. And we are working to find out how that works and if there's anything that we as a council should be commenting on. John already mentioned Streets Initiative. That was the presentation last week. And I just like to do a shout out to the Public Works Department. Not only did they give us a very good presentation last month, we forwarded all the questions that were received in the chat, the Zoom chat, and they sent back answers on all of those questions. So that's something that we do try to do because we can't always get to those Zoom participants during the meeting, but we do follow up. And I thought it was, I was very happy to see that the Streets Initiative, they came back and answered those. And while we're on streets, we actually had a win. About 18 months ago, somebody reached out to the council and suggested that on 30th Street, there needed to be some different signage and lane configuration. And we put that person's suggestion through to the city. And 18 months later, I got an email last week from that lady saying, thank you so much. They've just restriped it and it's working. So there is an indication of, John can't even hear this because he's saying that there's a shortage of old people. Our council is full of old people. But I thought that was a great example of somebody feeding stuff through us, and we are that liaison into the city. So if you don't know who to go to the city, you come to us and we rattle the cages till we find the right person. We talked about the Bayside Trails and historic preservation. We don't have Jeff here tonight. Perhaps he's online, but we're not doing so well on that. But I know that there is some, there's been quite a bit of activity on that. And if Jeff's got anything that we need to post, we can post that on the website. We're also working with the Historic Tacoma, who sued the city with respect to the historic district moratorium. And I know that they've just approved a letter that will be going back as they work through the resolution of that. So, sorry, you've heard a lot from me today. So now we get on to our first presentation, and I'd like to introduce Leslie from the Tacoma Library. And she's got a presentation, so if we can get that set up and zoomed. So, thank you.
Peter. Hey everyone, well, we're getting this set up. My name is Leslie Caldwell. I've been at, I don't know, a handful of these meetings now, coming twice a year. We're just gonna get the presentation up here. All right, so I guess I need to be in front of the camera. Okay, all right, so as I said, my name is Leslie Caldwell, and I am the Collections and Technical Services Manager for the library, and I'm also a North End resident. I've lived here since 2013. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the library. So our library has a mission and a vision. The mission is our purpose, and our vision is what we hope to do. So our mission is that we empower our community by bringing people together to discover, connect, create, learn, and thrive. And our vision, so like our hope, is that we are radically welcoming a trusted community hub where all people can find joy and compassion. We have some values that we believe in. We work together to break down barriers to access. We foster a culture of teamwork. We believe that learning is a human right. And we are committed stewards of our human, environmental, and financial resources. And all of that, the mission, the vision, and our values comes together towards our strategic priorities. So our strategic priorities are equity and access, learning, creativity, and innovation, investment in youth, cultivate and engage community, and responsible and resilient. And I'm going to talk about how we've done those things over the last year. So we have, with equity and access, really focused on digital equity. So last year we answered 19,000 technology questions. So if you ever have a question about like, how do you use this app? Or, you know, my Kindle isn't working, we're here for you for those types of things. We had 150 drop-in technology events where you can actually bring a piece of technology and get help with it. And we created 15 Chromebook kits to be given to individuals who are re-entering society after incarceration last year. From the access front, we added 1,500 items to our world languages collection and offered 70 story times in Russian, Spanish, Vietnamese, and now Korean. And this picture is from the Wheelock Library. So our Russian story time, and we choose where the story times are based on where those languages are spoken in Tacoma, right? So our Russian story time was at Wheelock, and while Wheelock is closed, it's currently COVID. And we hope to continue to offer these bilingual and world language story times for our community. For learning, creativity, and innovation, we have our Northwest room. So we are right now digitizing the Tacoma News Tribune. So it's a big undertaking. We held the Eastside Story Fest last year to document and celebrate the stories of our Eastside community. And we launched memory labs at Moore and at Wheelock. So at Wheelock, we have a memory lab that allows patrons, you can digitize your own family historical documents. If you have photos, if you have videos, we can take those family heirlooms and we can digitize them for you at our memory labs. And with learning, creativity, and innovation, we launched a video game collection. This was a huge project for me because I am the collections and technical services manager. So we decided to start circulating video games, and it has been hugely popular. I mean, we've already had over 1,000 checkouts since we launched it in December. And then in conjunction with the video game collection, we also installed these video game stations at South Tacoma, Fern Hill, and at Maine. And that lovely model is my child, using the one at the main branch. So speaking of kids, one of our goals is to have an investment in youth. And so we try to support our youth in Tacoma from birth through college, right? So one of those ways we do that is the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. We also have a summer reading challenge where kids can sign up, get lots of prizes for any reading that they do. And then we have a particular focus on teens, right? We want the libraries to welcome our teens so that after school, where are they? They're in our branches, right? So we have tabletop gaming in addition to the video game stations we talked about. And we hosted 185 teen programs system-wide last year. Another one of our priorities is to cultivate and engage communities. So I don't know if any of you attended our Tacoma Reads event in the fall with James McBride. It was an awesome event, great book, The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. And we will soon be announcing this year's title with the mayor for our fall Tacoma Reads. We also added a social worker to the library. So that's Sammy right there. And so Sammy works for the library, but provides social work services for community patrons. And she kind of floats around all the branches to help folks out. We don't have the resources to give people, but her job is to connect folks to those who do, right? So that's what she does. It's just been amazing to have her working with us. Responsible and resilient, that's another one of our strategic priorities. So as you'll, I'm sure know, we finally reopened the main branch, which is so exciting. That happened on February 1st, and it's been great to see people back in the building. I work on the 3rd floor of that building, and it was not fun to be there at a construction site where there were no humans. And now I can see, people coming in with their families, and it's been amazing to see the community and welcome them back to the main branch. We also had a director search last year. So Kate, who was a North End Neighborhood Council rep or liaison, I should say, decided to step away from libraries for a bit. And we were able to promote our own. So Amika Lonial is now our director. And yes, she's amazing. And the great thing about this, and I think why we're highlighting it under responsible and resilient, is that we're not switching gears, right? And we've worked so hard to take our libraries to the next level, so it makes sense to keep folks that have already been on this leadership team working towards the goals we want to do for this community. So, yes. All right, so data. Last year, we had 465,000 visitors. We offered almost 3,000 programs and over 50,000 folks attended those programs. We had, and I think this is for the first time since I worked at TPL, over 1 million in-person checkouts, which is huge. And then another 500,000 digital checkouts. So almost 2 million checkouts total. We answered 65,000 questions. We had about 60,000 computer sessions and about 50,000 folks using our Wi-Fi in the library. Okay, so that was a lot about Tacoma Public Library and what we did in 2024. But we are at the North End Neighborhood Council, so I want to specifically talk about Wheelock. So, as a North End resident, Wheelock was my branch before I even started working here. It is our busiest branch. In January of this year, we saw over 12,000 patrons. So it is busy all the time. It also accounts for almost 40% of our total checkouts. So almost half of the checkouts that happen in Tacoma happen at the Wheelock branch. Children's picture books being the most popular item, right? We can hardly keep them on the shelves. But sadly, we are closed right now, as you know. So Wheelock is our third neighborhood library to undergo very needed HVAC repairs. So we started with Fern Hill, finished up that project, and we did Swayze, and now Wheelock. The good news is it is on schedule. I checked with our facilities manager before I came tonight to make sure. So we're looking for a June opening, and that does not seem to be a problem. Also, while we're closed, we're trying to do some improvements to the space, including adding an expanded teen area. So I don't know if y'all ever been in the Wheelock Library right after school, but the teens are there and they want to be there after school, and we need to give them a space so that they can do what they need to do without disturbing others, and everyone gets to use the library, right? So we're hoping to add that. In the meantime, we are offering limited lobby services Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 5 to 7. So you're welcome to pick up books, place your holds, fulfill your holds, you can come get them. And then also Saturdays from 10 to 5 p.m. Or you are more than welcome to check out Maine if you haven't already. You can change your pickup holds location. There's an article on the website if you don't know how to do that, or I'm happy to help you as well. But come check out Maine, see what we have going on there. You can get your holds there. You can check out the Maker Lab and Community Hub and all the wonderful things that are happening in the Maine branch. So, any questions about Wheelock or the Tacoma Public Library system? Yes.
So might be a question more for your son. Do you know which console you have games to check out for?
Yes. We have Xbox, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Switch. And Switch is the most popular. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you mentioned Tammy Iverson. So she's a library employee.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so she's a social worker, but she works for the library. Yeah.
And how's that program been going? It must be a huge caseload, really. I mean,
It is. It's so needed. And we've been trying to figure out exactly like where does she work? What hours does she? She floats around a lot to serve the needs of our community. We're also gonna work with some social work students to be interns in the library too, to kind of expand what we can offer. And unsurprisingly, a lot of social work students are very excited to work in the library. So we got some interest, which has been really cool.
thank you.
Yeah. You.
Question.
Peter.
Digitization, is that taking the microfiche stuff? And then will that be remotely accessible?
Yes, for the Tacoma News Stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge project, but yes, that's the
So
goal.
will it look like the microfiche stuff?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, but it'll be online. Mhm.
I hate to be a Debbie Downer.
No, do it.
Are there any federal grants that are now happening?
Yes,
No,
yeah.
I mean, do they spawn them out?
So I know that, just on Friday, we found out that there are some grants that are just gonna, so, some of them are in the Northwestern, actually, that is where most of our federal grants have gone, is to the Northwestern to work on projects. So that is happening, and also I believe the state library is being impacted, and a lot of the services that all the public libraries in Washington State get are subsidized by the state library.
Sorry. We're all sorry.
It is, what it is.
Mhm.
Well, big round of applause.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you so much, Leslie. And we have had regular presentations from the library. I think you participated in the liaison roundtables. And we're so lucky to have such positive staff as well as just the bricks and mortar. So thank you so much. Okay, on to our next presentation. I'd like to welcome Latoya Mason, who's going to give us a presentation on the Tacoma First 311. So she has some presentations. I think we can, did you put in the chat? The link?
Yes, it should be.
Okay, so those of you who are on Zoom, we put a link in the chat. Latoya has a presentation, and you can actually download that if you go onto the link, if that works. I don't know if there's any chat to tell us that.
Let me copy and paste it again, just to be safe.
Looks great.
I'm just handing out the handout that I'm going to speak to. I don't have a PowerPoint. I don't apologize for that.
Well, you need to speak in the microphone, so. Yeah,
there,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Because we got Zoom participants who.
Oh. Yeah, this is different for me, I normally don't.
Okay. So just as background, appreciate Latoya stepping in. We didn't give her a lot of notice for this presentation, but this was one of the items that when we reached out to the membership and asked them what they were interested in, this was the 311 system was something that was interesting. So although you don't have a whole lot of people in the room, we do record the meeting because I think we're in conflict with a basketball game. And so the recording will go onto the website, and we'll also be able to post. We've actually put your presentations on a link. So I'd like to introduce Latoya.
Good evening, everyone. As Peter said, I am Latoya Mason. I am the Tacoma First 311 Customer Support Center Manager with the City of Tacoma. And I'm here to speak with you tonight to tell you about the service. Most of you probably know about the service, but I don't have a PowerPoint because I like to be I like to engage, and I like to speak. When you ask me questions, that's how I determine what you would like to know, because there's a lot of information. And the basics of the service is, the service was created to be a one-stop shop for City of Tacoma community members, business and residents to contact this office with one number, 311. You can dial that number anywhere within city limits. It's not 100% guaranteed to go through, and that's because of the communication companies. They regulate that. The City of Tacoma does not. But most of the time you can dial 311 and you can get to our office. But I also give you the main number, 253-591-5000 to call us, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So with this service, you can call the city, this office for anything. We'll guide you. We may not provide the service, but we'll try and help you get to where you need to go. The main purpose of this service is also to report non-emergency items to the City of Tacoma. And where I like to describe us as an intake center for the city of Tacoma. So such things like abandoned vehicle, a pothole, or you have even questions about permits for a fence or a tree. You can call us and we will get you to the right office or enter in a case of in our system. It's C-Click Fix. That is the provider that we use. It's still Tacoma First 311, but it's powered by C-Click Fix. And so there's over 100 different categories that you can report in C-Click Fix. And so what happens is first of all, let me ask you, do you all have the mobile app? Have you heard of the mobile app? Okay, there is a mobile app that you can download from the Android store or the Apple's store and type in Tacoma First 311, you can download it. And so one of those documents, the paper that I gave you is how to create an account. So you can create an account you can create an account or you can submit anonymously your complaint. But if you want follow-up and you want to track it, you would want to create an account. But and with that, you can still be anonymous. So I want to make that clear in the beginning. When we change systems, we've been operating since October 2013. We used to have a different system, GovQA, and it used to be a little different than what C-Click Fix is. And C-Click Fix is public facing now. GovQA, you couldn't see what other people were reporting. With C-Click Fix, you can. So if I, for example, if I put in 6th Avenue in North Pearl, a homeless encampment, I can see, it'll pull up other requests or other folks that have submitted that same request in that area if it's still active and open. That way too, you can submit your request or you can say, hey, I want to just subscribe to this one. So you can still track it. So with that, yes.
I'm sure it's different in 2013. I mean, everything didn't work forward, but so a few years ago where I lived in there was a problem house on the lot. And there were a lot of extra people living in the house, there was nothing work related, and lived there very temporarily, and there was a lot of gardens going in and out, and well, debris in the backyard. And we were just, and nobody was just calling up code people to report it. And calling it the landlord and things like that. Is that should be a call for one or someone wanted to give them a phone number?
No, you call 311. It eliminates you having to keep calling code, and now there's accountability and there's transparency. So you will call 311 and we would enter in that complaint, that request as an abandoned or neglectful home, or even like probably a general police complaint. And but it's everything that you submit through 311 is non-emergency. So it takes yeah.
Come, even for when we saw them moving stolen property, it didn't come. So I know it now, but we should never heard about that.
We've made a lot of we've grown since 2013.
Yeah.
We started out pretty small, trying to take on the city there was 3 of us, myself and 2 other team members. And we've grown to double the size. So, there's 6 of us. And we're, all, in that little team, we are all, we're small, but we're mighty. And we're taking in the calls and I'm manager, I'm doing all the footwork that I can to get the word out. I have, a staff person who's an analyst as well that helps with, the corrections and the audits of the system. We have a lead, and then we have 3 other customer service representatives that answer the phone, and right now, we're down a person. So I'm not making excuses, but I say all that to say we've grown, but we're still challenged with trying to, take in all the calls. Thank you, yes.
I love it. I report with potholes now when they get real bad and, services group. Do you know the 3 people that review all those requests?
Oh, no, so, no,
Okay.
so, no, I'm sorry, I don't mean to misspeak about that. No, we're just our division, we're the intake office. So when you submit that request or we take in that request, we do review them, but they are automated to the right department. So, we audit because sometimes folks, they don't know where to put their complaints. So we double check to make sure it goes to the right place, reassign it, and, make sure that the right department is handling it. Before it's sitting in someone's queue for too long. That brings me to another, point about our requests and our categories. Each request or category that you have the option to submit has a service level agreement. It's a promise that this request typically may take 14 days, and we tell you that so you can know what to expect. That doesn't always happen within the response time, but we have a 90% goal, very, very, I can't even get the word, I apologize, I'm a little under the weather tonight. But we're very, we're high on our customer service and making sure that you do get a response. There are some things that may fall into the crack, and that's where we try to, here at 311, try to make sure we're reviewing to see if something's not being responded to, how many we have open past the due date. Why is this happening? Is this one that's trending? What is the reason for that? Sometimes sometimes the requests may not get answered because there's a lack of resources, or the program, or it's something that they can't explain or, take care of at that time. I will say can't explain, like, there's one where they, it's called, I can't think of it right now. I think it's the ramps in the road or in the street. I think, I got an email about one. It's open 180 days. That's the service level agreement, 180 days. And that's a long time for something to be open. And someone who submitted that request may say, why does it take this long to close it? Well, there's a lot of different, things that go into deciding where we're gonna put a speed bump in the road or a center, yes, thank you. And so that's through the Public Works Department, and that's through engineering. And so, so each request goes to the appropriate department and the appropriate team to take care of that, where they're the subject matter expert. 311, we intake it, but we also follow up when the customer is needing answers of why this has not been completed or, yes.
So we did receive from one of our members, a question about them closing incidents without them being resolved. And I'm on the app, and I know that I love the fact that if a neighbor complains about something, I get copied about that. But could the system be adjusted so we actually see what happens to it after the fact? Otherwise it makes it look as though the situation is worse than it is, because I get messages to say somebody's reported people sleeping in a van at such and such a thing, and you never see that it's resolved, and then 3 days later I see the same thing coming up. So you mentioned an audit. Are you actually auditing that these things are resolved? And how are you doing that?
We keep track of when they're closed, making sure they're closed in a timely manner. Now, when you talk about the response, we're not auditing every single one to go in to make sure that the department responded appropriately and as it's closed. So, there is a process that when they are closed, there should be a message to the customer on what has taken. We have completed this. Now, they may not go into details.
But that's not going to the people that are being copied to that. And it just would be better if somebody's, I'll affirm, like the pothole stuff is fabulous. They just do a great job. But when you see that and it says your neighbor has complained about that, it would be nice to also get an email to say it's been assigned to such and such and it's been resolved. We just hear about the bad stuff. We don't hear about the good stuff of it getting resolved.
So I think I'm hearing you correctly. Let me repeat back what I think I'm hearing, just so I can understand, make sure I understand. The original reporter and the subscriber to that request is getting notified when there's something similar that you've reported before, right?
Now, I'm not sure how the system has identified me as.
So, but it's most likely, it's because you've reported something similar to that before.
Yeah.
And so you're a subscriber to that category. And it's notifying you when there's, like you said, other things. But you're not the original reporter, so it's not going to notify you.
So it says, based on issues you've acted on in the past, we felt you would be interested in this recently reported issue. That's great. I'd sure also like to get the next one to say, this was assigned to whoever it is, and it's now resolved, because it's that customer service thing of completing the circle. If you don't complete the circle, then you leave this impression that stuff isn't being acted on. And when we were setting this up, I gave you the horrible example of the Frisco Freeze, where we get a complaint every single day. And we never see, if somebody had told us what is being done about that, perhaps people wouldn't be complaining every day. But it would be nice to know that a meeting is set up, we're going to go and do this, or whatever it is. Make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but the cycle is being completed for the reporter. So
Yes.
I understand what you're saying. It would be great if it would notify you on everything, every step. But it's designed to just notify the one reporter. It is giving you, it's intuitively saying you want to know what else is being reported in your area. But it's not going to give you the rest of the details. You can write down the number, the request number, and follow up with it later, but that's more work on your part, right? Our system isn't going to automate that.
So my suggestion is you're spreading bad news and you're not spreading good news. And we want everybody to feel that Tacoma is a wonderful place that we act. This is a great system, but we need to promote the solutions that are being done, not just the problems that are out.
I understand. So if I can't do that, are you recommending that I turn off the subscribing function? So
No,
you're not notified either way?
No, I'm suggesting that it's not your system, it's an off-the-shelf system.
Right,
So I'm just saying, when you're speaking to the vendor, say, hey, we're getting this feedback that people want to just not be notified of something that may interest. They want to be notified that it's been resolved.
I will mention that, but most likely it's not going to happen that the way that we're wanting it to. I'm just being honest with you. It's either way, I get it. I get folks, I go to different meetings, they don't even want to know about it. Folks are like, why am I getting notified that there's a problem? I don't wanna subscribe. So I have to explain for them, just, you have to unsubscribe. Because it's a manual thing on your part. I think for you to follow up, if there's something you wanna know about, like the Frisco freeze, you can, you can, write down the request number and go on the system on the webpage and look it up, and it should tell you. It's public information at this point. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just curious, is it not in the capacity of the software to do that kind of thing? Or are there other cities that use this particular software?
Yes.
Have explored?
I don't know if they've explored that, and I'll tell you, Tacoma is the most heavy user of C-Click Fix. But there are surrounding cities and counties that use it. That's why we chose to go with C-Click Fix, because Pierce County uses it, City of Federal Way uses it. All the surrounding cities use C-Click Fix. But Tacoma, because we are very innovative here, we are very community oriented, we push our system, we push the system in the limits of the system more than probably lots of, 90% of the cities. And we've been told that we ask them for things, like I'm going to ask them about this option, and we're the first to ask them. So a lot of times they haven't invented it, but there's things that we are asking as a city, as customers, for, and they're like, well, we never thought about that. We've never been asked that. So now they're looking into it. So yes, so thank you for that question. Yes.
Yeah, I personally think that would be such a great thing. I mean, I've worked with private companies before and asked them to do special things, and they do love it. Because the cities want the people to know that stuff is getting done. It's so easy for us to go like, damn, the potholes are still here, nobody's doing anything about it. It's still happening, And it's like, no, actually, that one down here got done, this one down here got done, and yours is next on the list. There's no feedback at all. So I lived here for 10 years, and it's the worst. I mean, I have never been in a place that had the city had such bad PR about what's actually being done, and so that little thing, a lot of other cities would love to have, because we're not alone, everybody has big complaints, but I have more people complaining to me about stuff that I don't hear about either. It's like, I don't know about that either. So any kind of yes, we're doing it, and yes, this is happening and complete, any of that stuff is gonna be super valuable.
I will say that the original reporter reporting the pothole or reporting the issue, they do get a complete cycle from beginning to end. So I don't want it to be forgotten that
nothing is happening or nothing is being completed. The person that reports it originally, they are being kept in the loop. But I do understand, you say, you let me know that there was a pothole here, why can't you let me know when it's fixed? I understand that. So I will work on that. I will definitely ask our vendor about that. Yes.
Yeah, I have a question about, calling 311. If we were to see a tree on the right of way that we think is being illegally cut down. I mean, nowadays you're supposed to sign 2 weeks before a tree is cut down, you know, a permit and all that. But if we see a tree that's being cut down, can we call 911? It's so what would be done.
They're going to probably direct you to call 311, because it's not. Oh, and I'm sorry, I just rolled with it because we get 911, 311 all day long, so I apologize. I didn't want to assume that you weren't right, but so, yes, you could call 311 for that, and we would put in a request category. It would be to planning and development services for permit issues, which would be a cold case because this address is cutting down a tree without a permit, or maybe we don't know that, but they'll look into it.
And the person in charge of that is James Paisley, did you know that?
For planning and development services, I'm not sure. I think, yes, I think so. Yes. There's one other person too. I can't think of their name. I apologize. This brain is kind of stuffy tonight. Any more questions? I would like to tell you that we do have, we did receive over 50,000 requests last year through C-Click Fix. And we took in over 35,000 calls. 35,000, did I say that? I hope so. 35,000 calls, and we didn't quite make 90% response time, but we were at 84%. So I think that's pretty good based on some of the nationals. I think it's 60 or 70% is the goal, but we make ours 90%, and we're at 84%. So I know that's pretty high for us to strive, but if we collectively, we can do it. Yes.
So, what is my question? My question is, my comment is, I think most people are pretty savvy to know that if it's something with regards to property, they have to call for come at. Unfortunately, our systems aren't synced up that anything that goes to 311 is automatically connected to parts to come up. We'd love to get there someday, but I'm just curious if you run into much of that problem. I know when you take them in that you physically
we send it your way.
send
Yes.
it our way, but
Yes.
it's not automated.
No, and we let the customer know that you're not in our system, so we manually call you. So I've worked on that. You know, COVID came and that project stopped. So I apologize for that, but if we could work together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to get there.
Well, the thing is, we could probably, I don't know how we could probably work it to have an email automate to you all, to like an email inbox. I'm not sure, but anyways, we take it in. We don't turn anyone away. We make sure we get them to where they need to be. So.
Any more questions for the lawyer? I'd like to thank you so much. Oh, let me just check. There's no online request. Don't think so. Nope, we're clean, I think.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. Personally, I love the 311 system, and John Hines introduced it to us. And when I report the potholes, I actually, every time I see the neighbors, I explain that I solved their pothole problem because I'm the one who.
Thank you for your service.
So next meeting, I'm actually not here, so Toby will be handling the meeting. It's our regular, we like to have one meeting devoted to historic preservation. And we have a presentation by Melissa McGuinness. And we also will have the city and the consultant giving us the update on the Cushman Adams reuse study. So that's the next meeting. And thank you so much for coming out and missing the basketball. And we will see you all next month. Thank you.